Get the deep work dividends. Charles Darwin lived for why 4 hours of elite focus outperforms the 40-hour hustle. Introduction. The great productivity lie. There is a pervasive myth in our modern culture that effort is a linear path to earnings. We are conditioned from a young age to believe that if you work twice as many hours, you will achieve twice the results. We see the hustle influencers bragging about 16-hour days, sleepless nights, and the constant grind. But if you look closely at the data of the global economy, a strange paradox emerges. There are people working 80 hours a week in manual labor or retail who struggle to achieve financial stability. And then there is a small class of silent risers, software architects, specialized writers, and strategic investors who work for intensely focused hours and generate more economic value than most do in a month. The world doesn't pay you for your exhaustion. It pays you for the complexity of the problem you solve. Today, we are exploring the deep work dividend. We are going to look at the historical case study of Charles Darwin, a man who revolutionized science while working less than a part-time employee, to prove that your financial makeover isn't about doing more work. It's about doing deeper work. We are going to show you how to stop the busyness and start building financial health through the power of cognitive intensity. Chapter 1. The Darwin Audit, the 4-hour biological limit. When we think of Charles Darwin, we think of a man who wrote on the origin of species, a work that fundamentally shifted the human understanding of existence. We imagine a man obsessed, chained to a desk for 20 hours a day. But the reality is shocking, according to Darwin's own diaries and the observations of his son, Francis. Darwin's daily routine was a masterclass in the silent rise. He would begin his hard work at 8 a.m. and finish by 9:30 a.m. He would then spend an hour reading letters and his past research. He would return to his desk for a second bout of work from 10:30 a.m. until noon. And then he was done. By lunch, Darwin had finished his professional day. He spent his afternoons on sand walks, contemplative walks in nature, napping, and reading for pleasure. Darwin understood a biological reality that modern corporations ignore. The human brain has a finite capacity for elite focus. In the field of psychology, this is known as cognitive endurance. Research suggests that for high-level, complex tasks, the average human can only sustain peak performance for about 4 hours. After that, your output per hour doesn't just decline, it falls off a cliff. When you try to hustle for 12 hours, you aren't doing 12 hours of work. You are doing 3 hours of real work and 9 hours of pseudo-work, low-value tasks that keep you busy but keep your financial growth stagnant. Chapter 2. The $1,000 per hour delta, economic leverage. To understand why Darwin's 4 hours are more valuable than a 40-hour work week, we have to look at the economic value delta. In the modern economy, work is divided into 2 categories: shallow work and deep work. Shallow work consists of logistical-style tasks, answering emails, attending status update meetings, or repetitive data entry. These tasks are easy to replicate. Because they are easy to replicate, they have a low market value. If anyone can do it, the economy won't pay much for it. This is why working harder at shallow tasks never leads to a financial makeover. You are simply doing more of something that isn't worth much. Deep work, however, is the act of pushing your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit to create new value or solve a complex problem. It is the difference between scrolling through a social media app and writing the algorithm that powers it. It's the difference between reading a sales script and architecting a marketing psychological framework. When you operate in the deep, you are producing a dividend, because so few people have the discipline to sit in silence and solve hard problems. The market rewards those who can with disproportionate financial freedom. A silent riser recognizes that 1 hour of high-complexity work can be worth 500 in market value, while 1 hour of low-complexity work is worth 15. If you spend your 4-hour kill zone on high-complexity tasks, you have already won the day. You have achieved more financial health in a morning than the person doing 40 hours of shallow logistics. Chapter 3. The sand walk and passive synthesis. One of the most overlooked parts of Darwin's success was his sand walk. He built a gravel path on his property and would walk it in total silence, sometimes kicking stones into a pile to count his laps. He wasn't working in the traditional sense, but this is where the psychological sinking happened. There is a phenomenon called incubation. When you push your brain during 4 hours of deep work, your subconscious continues to work on the problem even after you stop. But there's a catch. This only happens if you provide silence. If you finish your work and immediately jump on TikTok or check your work emails, you kill the incubation process. You are force-feeding your brain junk dopamine, which prevents it from synthesizing the complex information you just processed. The silent rise philosophy dictates that the hours after your deep work are just as important as the work itself. By protecting your peace by going ghost during your afternoon, you allow your brain To find the bridge skill opportunities and the financial stability strategies that stay hidden when you are constantly distracted. Darwin's genius wasn't just in the 4 hours at the desk. It was in the 20 hours of quiet that supported it. Chapter 4. The 4-hour dividend protocol. So, how do you apply the Darwinian model to your own life to achieve a financial makeover? You need a protocol that moves you from busy to effective. Step 1. The high-value identification. Before you start your day, ask yourself, what is the one task that, if completed, makes everything else easier? This is usually the task you are procrastinating on because it is hard. That is your deep work. That is the task that pays the dividend. Step 2. The environment of silence. You cannot do deep work with a phone on your desk. Even if it is face down, your brain is using cognitive load to ignore the possibility of a notification. Put the phone in another room. Close every browser tab that isn't essential. You are now in the ghost phase. Step 3. The 90-minute sprint. Break your 4 hours into 2 90-minute blocks with a 30-minute break. In between, during that 90 minutes, you do not get up. You do not check the news. You are a silent riser, descending into the depths of a problem. Step 4. The hard stop. When your 4 hours are done, you must have the courage to